You're watching ACC Baseball on ACC Network Extra. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Durham, North Carolina and Jack Coombs Field alongside former Duke catcher Ron Causey. I am Ryan Craig, getting set for Game 2 of a 3-game set between number 8 Duke and number 4 NC State. A 9-2 win for the Wolfpack yesterday. We'll tell you more about that game on the other side of the break here in just a few moments. But, Ron, two obviously very different perspectives for these two teams entering into Game 2. One coming off of a win and a very solid one at that for the Wolfpack. Blue Devils looking to recover just a bit after dropping the opener.
Duke needs to have competitive at-bats today early in the game, put pressure on the NC State defense. NC State starter Brian Brown, if he can extend late into this game, that'll preserve the NC State bullpen, and it'll be an uphill battle for the rest of the series for these Duke hitters.
Two 30-win teams, 30-7 for the Pack, 30-9 for the Blue Devils of Duke. On the other side of the break, we'll take you back to Game 1 and look forward to Game 2 here on ACC Network Extra. Couple of minutes away from the first pitch here of Game 2 between Duke and NC State. First, we look back at Game 1. It was a 9-2 win for the Wolfpack. Game was tied at 1 after 2, but then 3 in the top of the third, 4 in the top of the fourth for NC State. And oh, by the way, what an incredible job Reed Johnston did on the hill for the Wolfpack. The freshman setting new personal bests in terms of innings thrown, pitches thrown. Just an all-around spectacular effort for NC State in the opener.
NC State looked great offensively as well, complimenting Reed Johnston's effort. We just saw Patrick Bailey's base-clearing triple, drove in 3 runs. Great job by the NC State Wolfpack offensively, defensively, and on the pitcher's mound. They played great in all 3 phases of the game.
Nolan Clenny pitching the final 2 1/3. Only gave up a couple of hits. There you see Patrick Bailey switch hitting catcher for NC State, batting 5th in the lineup once again today. There you see the damage that he did yesterday. Part of a tremendous amount of talent and young talent for NC State. A guy that you obviously know very well. For those listening to the broadcast yesterday, you took full credit for everything that he has done in his entire career. Even what you did as a coach when he was 14 years old.
Patrick Bailey with great baseball instincts. 4 kids on that 14 and under team on this NC State team.
Maybe you should go
Patrick
into coaching.
Bailey, one of them, JT Jarrett, Cameron Cotter, Josh Pike, all 4 of those guys on that 14 and under travel team, and just all with great baseball instincts. When you have a kid that understands the game and understands how to run the bases, how to call the game from behind the plate, makes it easy.
There's the batting order for NC State. Just one change, a simple swap of Terrell Tatum and Brock Dethridge. Dethridge now batting 6th today after batting 7th yesterday. Wolfpack hitting .307 as a team. Mitch Stallings, the man in charge of trying to shut down that offense. Stallings, the lefty, 3-2 on the season with a 4.71 ERA. His first job is to handle Josh McClain, who was 3 for 5 yesterday with a run scored. Catalyst at the top of the batting order for NC State, batting .356 on the season. 63 hits already this year. Make it 64. Wolfpack with 15 hits in Game 1. And that was despite a Duke bullpen that came on the final 5 1/3, only allowing 4 hits. So the Wolfpack getting a lot of their damage on the board in the early and middle innings. Here's the defense for Duke. Excellent all the way around. .980 fielding percentage. Max Miller back at second base, was nursing a bit of a thumb injury yesterday, but he gets the start today. A welcome sign for Coach Chris Pollard and the rest of the Blue Devils. Miller, one of the best gloves in America at second base. First pitch swing, and not even Miller is going to be able to get to that one. 2 at-bats, 2 hits for the Wolfpack as Brett Kinnaman reaches. So the Wolfpack picking up where they left off yesterday.
These Wolfpack hitters have a great approach at the plate. We've seen 2 singles in a row, McClain and now Kinnaman. And we saw a lot of this same yesterday, hard hit ground balls, hard hit line drives through the gap. They're jumping on Mitch Stallings early in this game, early in the count, not letting Stallings get to his late at bat pitches, breaking ball, slider, change up, jumping on that fastball early. It's been effective so far for the Wolfpack.
Here is Will Wilson batting .310 on the season. Wilson, the middle part of that 2-3-4 area of the order, that's hit 33 home runs on the season. This is not a park that surrenders many home runs. Wolfpack did not have one yesterday, but didn't matter much. A lot of hard contact, line drive, base hits. Stallings already finding himself in a position where he's got to find a clutch pitch or two here. Try to limit what is a budding situation for the Wolfpack. Misses outside with that one. Talking to Coach Pollard before the game, says there's nobody he'd rather have the ball for game 2 here. Nobody more competitive than Mitch Stallings. Stallings 59 strikeouts and just 49 2/3, so he has that kind of stuff. Behind in the count now, 2-0 though. That one is lifted high into left field. Drifting back for it is Herron to the wall, and he makes the catch! Tagging up from second is McLean, and Jimmy Herron may have saved a 3-run home run here in the top of the first inning. We saw that yesterday with Kinnaman. The ball just seemed to drift and drift. Herron able to camp out under it. And take another look if he saved 3 runs. Awfully close.
Will Wilson put a charge in that ball to left center field. And Herron, you can see him drifting back. We mentioned yesterday the warning track at Jack Coombs Field, not made of dirt. Wasn't sure exactly where he was. He had his left arm extended, trying to feel for the fence. Timed his jump perfectly, and what a great job by the Blue Devil left fielder.
So Herron takes away certainly extra bases, maybe 4 of them. 1 away, runners at first and third. Nice job from McLean, tagging up from second, not getting caught up in the good catch by Herron. Evan Edwards, 2 for 4 yesterday, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. Stallings finds the strike zone. The count evens at 1-1.
You mentioned the base running by Josh McLean at second base. Anytime a ball is hit that high to left field, it's either one of two things, a home run or an out. He knew that, retreated back to second base, was able to tag up, advance to third, less than 2 outs, runner in scoring position.
The 1-1 from Stallings drifts wide, 2-1. Edwards at .325 on the year. Second highest batting average in the lineup today for the Wolfpack, but everybody clustered around that 300 mark. And the 2-1 from the Duke left-hander is in for a strike. Stallings a strike away from being an out away from getting out of this top of the first.
Elliott Avent with a lot of faith in the middle of this lineup. You mentioned the staggering batting averages. Usually a top 10 matchup in the ACC on a Saturday, runners on first and second, nobody out. You almost always see a bunt situation.
The 2-2. Off-speed pitch just misses. Count is full. The bases will be full if Stallings throws another ball to Evan Edwards. Stallings sets and deals. Pop toward Lo Perfido at first, drifting toward the NC State dugout, blocks the sun and makes the catch. So Stallings will try to retire Patrick Bailey, who we talked about at the top of the show. If he can do so, he will have escaped first and second, nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Top 10 matchup here in Durham. Some tremendous baseball being played in the state of North Carolina this year. East Carolina, North Carolina, Duke, NC State, all having tremendous top 20 and better years. They're all playing each other here over the next couple of weeks. Wolfpack and Tar Heels played Tuesday night. So did the Blue Devils and Pirates. Non-conference matchup between East Carolina and NC State scheduled for next week. Obviously, this series happening right now. State and Carolina will play each other in a 3-game set next weekend, so a lot of in-state matchups with postseason ramifications here in late April and early May. Hate to overstate it, but it feels like a really important batter for Stallings already to try to set the tone this afternoon. The 1-0 pitch, in for a strike.
The NC State offense was so potent yesterday. I agree with your statement there, Ryan. Leading off this game with 2 consecutive singles, first and second, nobody out. Suddenly it looked like a scoring opportunity. Right now, Mitch Stallings 1 out away from getting out of the top of the first unscathed.
Bailey will have something to say about that. He's ahead in the count now, 2-1. And now the 2-1. Lifted foul. This was an area, though, yesterday where NC State did a ton of damage. 2-out RBI hits. At least 5 of the 9 runs that NC State scored in Game 1 came with 2 away. And the 2-2. Outside, 3-2.
Stallings looking for the outer portion there. We saw Proctor behind the plate set up on the outer part. Stallings with that 2-seam fastball left it just a little bit too far outside. A couple of inches out. We'll see if he can make the adjustment here. Doesn't have a pitch to work with. Full count now.
Interesting that Duke will not hold Kinnaman on here with the full count. Loperfido takes a few steps off of first. Runner goes, Bailey swings and misses, and Stallings gets out of the top of the first. Could be a momentum builder for Duke after back-to-back hits by the Wolfpack to start things off. The lefty clamps down and puts up a 0. His offense will go to work. Heron, Proctor, and Cone do up for the Blue Devils here in Game 2. Scoreless tie so far in Game 2, but nearly a 3-0 NC State lead, if not for the defensive acrobatics of Jimmy Heron, who will now take his time in the batter's box, batting .295 on the year. Hard to tell exactly from the replay we had, but surely looked like he stole a home run. In behind him, you see the order. Max Miller back into the lineup this afternoon, as we talked about earlier. He's in the 7 spot. That drops Lavoski and Smickless down 1 place each. Otherwise, all of the same personnel and places for the Blue Devils. They'll try to solve the puzzle that is Brian Brown on the hill. The lefty has been absolutely spectacular this year. Probably the ACC pitcher of the year if the year ended today. 5-0 on the season. ERA of 1.09, as you can see, was actually well below that and had the best ERA in all of Division I before a 5-inning, 4 earned run appearance against Louisville. All he did after that was respond with a complete game 8-hitter against Notre Dame, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts and 2 walks, 120 pitches in all. Outside of that Louisville outing, he has only given up 3 earned runs all year. Heron thinks about trying to bunt his way on, but takes a ball. The numbers on Brown. Sometimes the numbers don't tell the story. They tell the exact story of what he has been this year. 53 strikeouts and 17 walks. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike.
Brown almost a strikeout every inning that he's pitched this year, 53 strikeouts and 57 2/3.
Herron, a line drive to center field. So both teams with the leadoff batters on. Herron can do some damage on the base paths once he gets there. 15 of 16 in stolen base attempts this season. It's funny, both coaches saying the same exact thing. Both of these starting pitchers today are very similar in the stuff they have. Obviously throwing from the same side, but even the type of stuff, sort of mirror images of each other. So Proctor steps to the plate. Took it 0 for 5 yesterday. First pitch to Proctor misses. Coach Pollard, scouting report on Brown. One of the few guys that can hang and read, can almost hold his motion, wait to see what the runner is doing, and then decide whether to go to first or home. That is such a tough thing to run against, even for a guy like Jimmy Herron. You see the move to first. In the meantime, Herron has been great all year, but especially in the first inning. Coming into the weekend, had reached base 18 times in Duke's 38 games in the first. Herron running on first movement, and the hit and run couldn't have worked out any better. Proctor lines one into the 6-hole, vacated by Wilson. First and third, nobody out here for Duke in the bottom of the first.
Just the start the Duke offense needed. Great piece of hitting there by Chris Proctor to protect the base stealer, Jimmy Herron. Here's another look at the swing. Out over the plate, takes it the other way. Vacating at shortstop was Will Wilson to cover the bag. You see how wide open that 6-hole is. Proctor finds it. Advancing to third base, Jimmy Herron, and Duke, much like NC State, posing a threat here in the bottom of the first inning.
When execution meets luck, you get exactly what just happened there. Wilson probably standing right where that ball landed. Duke, though, being aggressive on the base paths in the early going. Playing a little bit of small ball here with Zach Cohn, who bunts it foul. Cohn batting .295 on the season. 2 for 4 yesterday. He's been one of the better hitters in the lineup for Duke this year after an overhaul of his swing. The check at first, really in time. And the quick throw back over.
I have a feeling we're in for a lot of cat and mouse games over at first base. Obviously, Brian Brown has a great move to first. Duke has some good speed, good base stealing numbers on the year.
Lifted down the right field line. Drifting toward the foul line, toward the fence. It'll bounce to the bullpen. Interesting, Deathridge might have lost it in the sun a bit. Yeah, pointing up to the sky, actually. Gave it a glance right afterwards. Wasn't sure if he thought it was going foul, but I think he just lost it.
Watching him run in pursuit of that ball, it looked like he pulled up as if it was going to land on the other side of the fence, and it bounced about 5 feet in front of him. So clearly the sun issue on that ball.
So an 0-2 count against Cohn. If he did catch it, would have been interesting to see what Herron did at third base if you try to test the arm of Deathridge. As it stands, Brown ahead in the count 0-2, and then blows one right by Zach Cohn. Big strikeout for the lefty, and now the double play ends the inning.
Zach Cohn chasing the high heat from the arm of Brian Brown. 0-2, he's way behind in the count. You can tell he was making an effort to shorten his swing. Here's another look, just very quick and handsy, and took that one up around neck level, swung through it for strike 3.
A couple of options here for Duke, you would think, with Proctor at first. Has decent speed, 10 of 11 in stolen bases. Maybe if the throw goes to second, Herron could sneak in from third. If he does get there, takes the double play out of order, so a lot going on here in the top of the first.
That's twice with the runner on third base, less than 2 outs. Duke has attempted the safety squeeze. Zach Cohn fouled it off, unable to get it down. Loperfido took the strike.
Quick throw over to first. Brown has shown a variety of different techniques. Try to keep Proctor close. Kenny Taylor on deck. The 0-1 from Brown. Outside, 1-1.
Loperfido has one job here, and that's to drive something deep into the outfield, a fly ball that'll score Heron on a tag. The NC State defense is playing double play depth, so a hard ground ball to the infield could end the inning for Brown.
The 1-1 in there for a strike. Brown looking for back-to-back strikeouts after a first and third no-out situation. Loperfido in good position for ACC Freshman of the Year consideration. But facing a 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Bounce to third. Proctor will get to second. Or bounce toward third, I should say. Gets slightly away from Bailey. Proctor able to take advantage. Kinnaman, an adventurous day in left field yesterday. Circus catch, may have stolen a home run himself. McLean and Dethridge in center and right. Cooper Wilson, Jarrett, and Edwards, and Bailey in behind the plate. No defensive changes for the Wolfpack today. Taylor grounds one toward third. Cooper is there. Throws it across in time. Pump of the fist for Edwards at first. Opportunities for both teams go by the wayside in the first inning. Wolfpack will go back to work offensively with Dethridge, Tatum, and Jarrett when we return. Zero after one, but both teams with opportunities. I think both will be a bit disappointed. Wolfpack and Blue Devils both leaving 2 runners on in their respective half innings. Other side of that coin, though, is, Ron, that both pitchers came up with the goods when necessary, made some really good pitches to get out of the inning.
Brian Brown did exactly what his stat line assumed he would do, and Stallings able to do that. Was a big lift for this Duke offense.
Third base umpire will say that Dethridge did offer at that bunt. It's Danny Everett, who was in behind the plate yesterday, making that call. Craig Barron is at home today. Kevin Elsey at first, Chris Ward at second. So now an 0-1 count, quickly 0-2. Dethridge didn't agree with that one either.
Stallings has a sneaky fast, or I should say sneaky quick fastball. He's got a very slow, methodical windup. You'll see it here. Just very slow, very little movement with the body, and then the fastball just jumps.
The 0-2 misses, not by much. Count is 1-2. Dethridge yesterday 3 for 5 with a run driven in. The 1-2. Stallings trying to get the NC State right fielder to chase, nothing doing. Swung on and missed. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Mitch Stallings.
If Stallings can keep up with that breaking ball throughout the rest of the game, he's going to be tough to hit. That was a dirty slider, started right up around the hip, broke to the outer portion, lower part of the strike zone, swung through by Dethridge. Great looking pitch there for the Blue Devil left-handed starting pitcher.
Get the sense for both of these pitchers this afternoon after shaky starts. Maybe both of them found their rhythm a bit. That's off the glove of Loperfido. And so Tatum will reach. We'll see how that one is scored. Duke's defense has not been as strong this week as it had been really all year. We called the game Tuesday night against East Carolina. And it's not to say that this is an easy play by any stretch. Certainly hit very hard. But Duke has played not just good, but superlative defense all season. Come to expect them to make plays that are maybe even that notch above normal. That is ruled an error on Loperfido. Third error of the season for the Duke first baseman. Tatum 7 of 8 in stolen bases this year in somewhat limited time, just his 12th start. First pitch to JT Jarrett misses. Tatum dislocated his shoulder in the preseason after having a tremendous fall. The 1-0 will come in a moment after Stallings checks on Tatum at first. Coach Pollard was pleased with the way that the Blue Devils controlled the run game yesterday after struggling a bit in that regard against East Carolina earlier in the week. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike.
Stallings is a left-handed pitcher, has a great changeup that can really challenge a right-handed hitter. It tails away from the right-hander towards the left-handed batter's box. We saw him strike out Patrick Bailey to end the threat in the top of the first inning with that exact pitch. Could be a good candidate here for a ground ball double play if he can execute a good changeup.
Jarrett yesterday, the only hitter in the NC State lineup that did not have a hit. 0 for 4. Did walk, though, and made a couple of really good plays at second base. And the runner is caught up. Loperfido chases Tatum. Stallings will apply the tag in time. The second day in a row, Duke does very well to contain Wolfpack runners on the bases, and Tatum is frustrated with himself.
Both of these pitchers have put an emphasis on controlling the running game. Here's the move by Stallings to first base. Obviously, Tatum looking to steal, and Loperfido, two-cone, back to Stallings, applies the tag. Great rundown, good execution there by the Blue Devils defense.
So the Wolfpack runs itself into an out. Count is still 1-1 to JT Jarrett. Now 2-1. Don't think that was a scenario where Tatum was off on first contact. It looked like he just knew he was hung up and broke towards second after the fact. The 2-1 pitch misses.
Despite that Duke error, the defense has done a good job keeping runs off the board for NC State early in this one. We saw that catch by Heron out in left field. Stallings coming up with the big strikeout against Patrick Bailey to end the threat in the first. Obviously that pickoff there empties the bases. 2 outs now, full count. Stallings with a chance to get out of it here in the top of the second.
That is only the 7th time that Jarrett has struck out this season. Stallings gets him into the inning? No. Did he? Umpire perhaps saying the ball dropped out of the glove. The discussion ensuing. We'll pick it up on the other side of the break. You can see the conference going on just to the third base side of the mound between all of the umpires. A lot of indecision here. I'd mentioned it was only the 7th time that JT Jarrett had struck out this season. Well, it might not have been. Some question as to whether the ball was caught, I believe, after the swing. if it was foul tipped or not. May have a replay situation on our hands. See everybody waiting with hands on hips to figure out what's going on. Coach Pollard out of the dugout, as is Elliott Avon. Let's take another look here. I'm not exactly sure.
Umpire clearly calling it a foul tip, but
Proctor caught the ball.
Looked like Proctor clearly caught the ball, so maybe a little bit of confusion there, but I did not see that ball pop out of his glove. I did not see it hit the ground and bounce back into his glove at any time.
It just is a confusing call because it really wasn't close. It wasn't a play where the ball was right on the would-be dirt, obviously turf here at Coombs, but this is a really tough call. You can see, obviously, the news that Chris Pollard is getting is not good news if you're a Duke fan. Jarrett may have a second life here at home plate.
And it looks like Chris Pollard holding his hands there about 8 inches apart, saying that ball was caught 8 inches off the ground. It wasn't even close to hitting the dirt.
As it stands, it's a 3-2 count with 2 away. Here's another look. It's just not close. What I thought was going to happen was maybe the ball drop out of Proctor's glove after the fact, right? Maybe on the transition to his hand, and then therefore there might be some question. Frankly, somewhat of an open and shut case, if you ask me. Duke is not going to win this argument, though, it looks like, and that will have Chris Pollard steaming in the Duke dugout, particularly if this inning leads to anything for the Wolfpack. JT Jarrett back down to 6 strikeouts for the year.
Stallings has been so good working himself out of situations with mentioned the strikeout of Patrick Bailey to end the threat, and thought he had a strikeout there to end the inning.
To be honest, did. Instead, though, has to do it again. 3-2 count. Tell you what, you had the feeling that if it was anywhere close, and we'll get another look at the pitch, I'm sure, Stallings is going to get the benefit of the doubt on that one. Certainly nothing to disparage home plate umpire Craig Barron and the job that he does, but got to feel like Stallings is going to get the benefit of the doubt. Low strike, but poetic justice here at Jack Coombs Field.
Today on ESPN and FS1.
So an interesting end to the top of the second results in 2 different strikeouts for JT Jarrett. Coach Pollard no doubt fired up after it seemed to be an erroneous call, but then how about Mitch Stallings coming back and making that pitch right after all of that to end the top of the second. Griffin Conine steps in, unfamiliar number, but familiar name. Conine wearing number 1 today. 1 for 4 yesterday with an RBI. Hit a line drive the other way in his final at bat that you and I both thought may be something that he could build off of. Hard contact the other times as well. Productive out. And then going the other way with some power. He'll do with a 1-1 breaking ball. And that one's lined up the middle on the ground. So Conine perhaps finally emerging from what has been a relatively down year at the plate, has still maintained his defense in right field, has been a great teammate the whole time, according to everybody associated with the program, which is great to hear. And now finally, maybe with the weather warming up, starting to find his groove at the plate. Wouldn't that be a welcome sight for Duke?
Conine, such a decorated hitter coming into this season, and you got to understand, he gets everybody's best stuff. It doesn't matter what his batting average is. When a pitcher's on the mound facing Griffin Conine, they are reaching back for everything they have, and a great piece of hitting there for the Blue Devil right fielder.
So Max Miller steps in, skies that one to short right. Out goes Jarrett. Deathridge a couple of steps away from where he started, and there's one away. Lebowski approaching the plate. He's another guy that Duke would love to see get on track offensively. Batting average at .201. Does have 4 home runs on the year, along with 7 doubles, but 44 strikeouts on the season. Conine was already drifting back toward first before Brown threw the ball over. Conine has only attempted one steal this year. Lebowski 0 for 4 yesterday at the plate. The 1-0 from Brown. Misses 2-0.
Lebowski with good patience early in this at bat. 2 changeups or at least 2 off-speed pitches in a row from the arm of Brian Brown. Both looked good for a minute, dove below the strike zone. Lebowski with that patience now up in the count, 2 balls and no strikes.
The 2-0 pitch in for a strike, 2-1. Another strike, evens the count at 2 apiece.
Looks like another off-speed pitch there from Brown, able to get that one in there for a strike. Lebowski taking again.
Here is the 2-2. Just misses. 3-2. Brown trying to work that inside corner to Lebowski. The check over on Conine. Beautiful day here in Durham. Great crowd here at Jack Coombs Field. And now a full count pitch from Brian Brown to Jack Lebowski. Outside, and Brown issues a walk. First of the day, 18th of the season. So Conine and Lebowski reaching base in their first plate appearances, a positive sign for Duke. And now Michael Smiklis steps to the dish, swinging a rather hot bat lately. Average still hovering around 200, but trajectory positive for the Duke DH, making his 16th start of the season. Smiklis goes the other way. Will that one drop in front of the left fielder? It will not. Runners will have to retreat. Kinnaman comes on to make the catch, and there's 2 away.
Smiklis got tied up a little bit with that pitch from the arm of Brian Brown. Looked like he was trying to pull his hands in to get the barrel to the ball, was not able to do so. Kind of a glancing blow towards left field. No problem for the Wolfpack left fielder, Brett Kinnaman. We've seen him make much tougher plays than that in this series so far.
So it's up to Jimmy Herron to try to come through for Duke with 2 outs. Herron singled in the first, but got stranded at third base. A single here probably gives Duke the lead. Herron swings through that one, and it's 0-1.
Brown showing the ability to throw multiple pitches for a strike at any time. That another off-speed pitch. 0-0 count to Herron. Herron's swing told you he was looking fastball. Kind of that one-handed finish. He was way out in front.
The 0-1 well outside. Bailey tracks that one down. Count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Herron, the only player in school history for Duke. 50-plus doubles, 50-plus stolen bases. Drafted by the Yankees in the 31st round a year ago. Elected to come back to school. Heading the count 2-1.
In the bottom of the first, Duke had a chance with a runner on third base, nobody out. Strikeout, strikeout, ground out to third, ended the threat. We'll see if Herron can come up with the 2 big out big 2-out knock here.
The 2-1 in for a strike, 2-2. Excuse me, swing for Heron. A hopper down the first base line, and Brown fields it, fires to first base in time for out number 3. Zeros on the board through 2. Plenty of action, though, here in Game 2 between NC State and Duke. Duke has left a pair of runners on in each of the first 2 innings. Brian Brown coming up with the pitches when necessary to put up a 0. Stallings doing the same. As we head to the top of the 3rd in a scoreless tie here in Game 2. NC State trying to win the series today. Duke trying to force the rubber match for Sunday afternoon. We'll be with you tomorrow on ACC Network Extra, 1 o'clock first pitch. TBA for Duke. In terms of the starter, it'll be Michael Beeline for NC State, the sophomore righty. Stallings starts Dylan Cooper off with a strike, follows it up with a ball, so it's 1-1. Cooper yesterday 1 for 3 with a run scored, batting .291 on the season. Tells you all you need to know about NC State's lineup. The 9-hitter hovering around 300. Fouled away, and Stallings is ahead 1-2.
Stallings always at his best when he's working ahead, gives him plenty of options, and it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go to an off-speed pitch. He's got a great fastball that can explode on these NC State hitters, especially from the left-handed perspective, running the ball inside to the right-handed hitters, getting it caught up on their hands.
The 1-2. Hit fairly hard toward Kenny Taylor in center, and there's one away. That'll turn the lineup over to McLean. Josh McLean singling in the first. Got stuck on third base. McLean now 4 for 6 in the series.
Dylan Cooper put a pretty good charge in that ball to center field from the arm of Mitch Stallings. After that pitch, the catcher Chris Proctor looking into the dugout, signaling an upward hand motion, telling the pitching coach, hey, that ball was left a little bit up in the zone, as was that one, hammered back up the middle.
It's not flashy, but it certainly is effective for McLean. 2 for 2 now today after a 3 for 5 yesterday. 8 for 10 in stolen base attempts on the season. See if Coach Elliott Avent elects to put something on here with him as Duke puts the shift on for Kinnaman.
Another look, that one just right around the waist, right where any good hitter likes the ball pitched. Stallings going to have to do a better job driving that 2-seam down around the knees.
Put one around the belt to Kinnaman, and he may be hitting his 14th home run. Off speed in for a strike. Brett Kinnaman singled after McLean in the first inning. First 2 batters reached base for the Wolfpack in inning number 1. Before Stallings was able to bear down and get out of the inning. Lebowski basically playing short as Cone is right behind second base. There you get a good look at the infield positioning for Duke. Obviously playing and expecting Kinnaman to pull the ball. The 1-1 from Stallings. You can tell Kinnaman was slightly fooled on that one, but was able to lay off of it. Slugging percentage, .658 this year for the NC State left fielder. breaking pitch for Mitch Stallings in a hitter's count. That'll even things at 2-2.
That's been the difference today in Stallings versus Lasky last night. When Lasky needed to throw an off-speed pitch in a hitter's count, he was unable to throw it for a strike and just fell further behind.
2-2 pitch just misses. Count is full. Amazing what a difference it is when you can throw any pitch in any count. Hitter basically has no shot at guessing right at that point because you have no idea what to expect.
It's when you start to see defensive swings, guys just using their hands trying to battle rather than sitting on one pitch in one spot, knowing the fastball is coming. Makes a big difference when you know that it's coming versus adjusting.
The 3-2 from Stallings, swung on and missed. The throw down to second base in time! And that'll end the inning. Strike him out, throw him out. The Blue Devils head to the bottom of the third. McLean caught at second. Kinnaman out at home. Double play. 1, 2, and then on to second. Number 2 applies the tag, and Duke will try to put up a run here in the bottom of the third and break the scoreless tie here in game 2. 3 hits apiece. Let's go to the bottom of the third. Proctor, Cone, Loper, Fido for Duke. Proctor singling in his first at-bat. 30 pitches on the nose for Brian Brown thus far. He's worked himself into and out of trouble a little bit today. Duke a couple of base runners on in both innings, but unable to scratch anything across. Proctor first pitch swinging, lifts that one into right center field. Calling off McLean was Deathridge, and quickly there's one away.
Not only has Duke had a base runner in every inning, NC State has as well. Duke doing a great job controlling the running game. Picked off Terrell Tatum. We just saw Josh McLean get caught stealing. Feels like the first team to scratch a run across in this game is going to pick up some big-time momentum, both teams with plenty of base runners so far.
Brown misses with the first pitch to Zach Cone, who struck out in the first. Cone had the first opportunity to drive in a run first and third with nobody out. Now ahead in the count, 2-0.
We really saw Brian Brown hammer down there in that bottom of the first inning. You mentioned it. Runner on third base, less than 2 outs, struck out Cone, Loper, Fido, got the ground out by Kenny Taylor to get out of the inning.
The 2-0, swung on and missed.
Cone hit 2 balls really hard last night. Kind of has a downward angle on his swing and puts that backspin on the ball, hits a good carrying line drive, had a double and a single in last night's matchup.
That one misses on the inside corner, 3-1. Foul tip off the bat of Zach Cone. And the count is full, 3-2.
Looked a lot like that swing Jimmy Herron had in the bottom of the second that ended the inning, that excuse me kind of swinging bunt.
The 3-2 pitch. Nothing like a bunt on that one. What a play, though, from shortstop. Wilson comes in behind his pitcher, makes sure that Brian Brown is okay. That was a shot that caught, looked like maybe the arm of Brown. Certainly seems to be okay. A lot of times you see that ball deflect into no man's land. NC State lucky. It trickles right over to the shortstop. Still had plenty of velocity on it. Cone couldn't beat the throw. So quickly 2 away, and Loper Fido steps in. Brown comes in with a strike. Ryan Brown looking for the first 1-2-3 inning, as you alluded to, Ron, for either pitcher today. Swung on and missed. Brown looking for a 10-pitch inning. He's able to retire Loperfido here. The 0-2. Lifted down the left field line. Charging it was Kinnaman, unable to make the catch. He drops foul. Great effort that time by the NC State left fielder. Kinnaman has yet to make an error this year. 55 opportunities. There's a solid defensive left field. Full extension. But Loperfido will have another shot. Well behind in the count, though, 0-2. Loperfido waves at that one. He'll force Bailey to make the throw. And the NC State catcher obliges. 1-2-3 for Brown in the third. Wilson, Edwards, Bailey due up for the Wolfpack. Still looking for our first run of the afternoon here in Game 2. Both lefties stingy thus far. Three hits, no runs through 3 innings of work for Mitch Stallings. Has not walked batters, struck out 4. Thrown 41 pitches thus far. Both pitchers have been terrific thus far, particularly with runners on base. Teams combined 2 for 12 with runners on today, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Wilson, Edwards, and Bailey due up for the Wolfpack. Wilson takes a strike, flew out in the first. The 0-1 pitch misses. It was Wilson that sent a ball to the wall in left field that could have given NC State a 3-0 lead. If not for Jimmy Herron. Everybody's set. And Stallings delivers the 1-1 outside. 2 balls and a strike to the NC State shortstop. Average at .308 now. 2 for 5 in the series in total. Toward Herron again, but this time much closer in toward the infield. Herron calls off Cone, and there's 1 away. What a different feel to this game on the pitching mound for Duke. Lasky just didn't have it yesterday. Stallings, despite giving up back-to-back singles to start the game, has given Duke a renewed sense of confidence, I think, particularly defensively.
In the top of the third yesterday, NC State able to score 3 runs, scored 4 in the top of the fourth, and 7 runs in those 2 half innings really made the difference in that ball game.
Comes in for a strike against Edwards. Yeah, by this time yesterday it was 4-1 NC State. You mentioned Wolfpack doubling their run output in that 4th inning. It was another 4-run 4th. 22nd time the Wolfpack has scored 4 or more runs in an inning this year. You can score runs in bunches. The 1-1 pitch misses high.
When you have that statistic on your side, you're not out of any game. Just remind yourself, that's an unbelievable statistic. 4 or more runs in an inning 22 times.
Edwards does not bite on the breaking pitch, and it's 3-1. Tap toward the NC State dugout. All of the Wolfpack's hits, all 3, Top two hitters in the lineup. McLean 2 for 2. Kinnaman 1 for 2. 3 through 9 in the batting order, taking an 0 for thus far against Stallings. Full count pitch with 1 away. Swung on and missed. 5 strikeouts now for Stallings as Edwards is retired for the second time.
Big time pitch there from Mitch Stallings. He reaches back for a little extra. A lot of steam on that fastball from the left side. Lefty on lefty matchup. Blows it right by Evan Edwards. You mentioned 5 strikeouts on the day. That's through 3 2/3 on the season. Stallings came into this game with 59 strikeouts and 49 2/3 innings pitched. A great ratio for the Blue Devil southpaw.
Challenging Edwards in all 10 of his home runs. Right down Broadway. Patrick Bailey ahead in the count, 1-0 after striking out in his first plate appearance. One is lifted foul. Proctor will give it a look, but no chance to make a play. Of course, Pollard talked about how the Duke bullpen really recaptured some momentum for the pitching staff in the last half of yesterday, and that's part of the nature of baseball in a 3-game series. Even if you might not win the game, you can carry some momentum with you depending on how you perform in the last few innings. Talked about the 5 1/3 that the Duke bullpen was able to produce. 4-hit ball, just 1 run given up, and that was really a bit of bad luck for Matt Dockman. There was a ball lost in the lights and another one ground ball with some eyes through the infield. Maybe that's carried over today into Game 2. Mitch Stallings emphasizing that momentum, adding to that momentum with his performance here in the early going. The 2-2 pitch outside.
You mentioned those big innings NC State had yesterday, top of the 3rd, top of the 4th. You take those 2 innings off the scoreboard, and this series has been very, very closely played between these 2 teams.
The 3-2 pitch. And strikeout number 6. Stallings has it going. Taylor, Conine, and Miller will try to get it done for the Duke offense, as Stallings has put 4 zeros up on the board against the second-ranked Wolfpack. Back with more in a minute on ACC Network Extra. Middle of the 4th, scoreless tie here in Game 2. Taylor, Conine, and Miller due up against Brian Brown, who's thrown 41 pitches through 3 innings. Both pitchers have really settled in. Get the feeling that both offenses wish they did take advantage of the opportunity in the first inning, because it doesn't look like there's going to be too much available in terms of offense, although that was inches away from extra bases for Kenny Taylor, who tripled down the right field line yesterday. Would have been at least 2.
The way both of these starting pitchers have performed so far, Brown for NC State, Stallings for Duke. The guys in the bullpen can open another bag of sunflower seeds, because they're not going to be needed for a little while if this momentum maintains. Only 6 total hits in the game, 3 for each team.
Taylor lifts that one down the third base line once again. Wolfpack will run out of room.
You mentioned Taylor's triple yesterday down the right field line. Got a pitch on the outer part of the plate. Rattled it down in the corner by the 335 sign. Able to come up with a triple on that one. This at bat, he's getting pitched inside. He's working with what he's been given, pulling the ball to the left field line.
The 0-2. Taylor does not chase. That'll be the 4th strikeout of the afternoon for Brian Brown.
Looked like an off-speed pitch from the arm of Brian Brown. Here's another look. The left-hander, yes, slider down in the dirt. Kenny Taylor perhaps thought it was a fastball. All of a sudden, the bottom just fell out. Good job by Patrick Bailey behind the plate to block that one. Taylor clearly didn't realize that it hit the dirt. Too late to scramble to first base.
So 2 hits in as many plate appearances for Griffin Conine going back to his final at-bat of Game 1. A line drive to left, a hard hit ball to center today. Takes a strike from Brown. So some positive signs for the Duke right fielder. Goes the other way that time to left center field. Bit too much air under it. And McLean will track it down. There's 2 away.
Still a nice piece of hitting by Griffin Conine. I don't see how he got his arms extended that ball. Looked like he kept moving away and away from the barrel. Still put a pretty good charge in it. Tailing away from the NC State center fielder Josh McLean, but McLean did a good job staying with it into the left center gap, come up with the catch.
Potentially very quick inning for Brian Brown here. Miller steps to the plate with 2 away and takes a strike. Quickly ahead 0-2 is Brown, who has hacked his ERA all the way back down to 1.03. Another couple of innings of shutout ball, and it'll be sub-1 here in start number 10. The 0-2 pitch. Didn't think Miller went around. He did not, according to Craig Barron.
You think Brown knows that? You think if he's a stats guy, he's figured up exactly how many scoreless innings he needs to throw to get that ERA under 1? What an unbelievable feat that would be for this young man.
The 1-2 bounce toward Miller. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, you're the baseball guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he knows. I think he's well aware of how many scoreless he needs. And, I mean, you know, in the ACC, top 10 talent, top 20 talent, week in and week out, this young man's statistics are unbelievable.
The 2-2 to Miller. To third. Cooper. All the way across in time. Scoreless through 4 now here at Jack Coombs Field. 3 hits apiece, but no runs across. Dethridge, Tatum, and Jarrett will try to solve Mitch Stallings when we return to Durham.
27.
Welcome back to Durham in this top 10 matchup between the Blue Devils and the Wolfpack of NC State. Scoreless in this one so far, and it's been all about Mitch Stallings. 6 strikeouts on the day, doing it with all pitches. You see a slider there behind the plate. Proctor with the strike him out, throw him out. And it's been all about the Blue Devil southpaw. He has 6 strikeouts on the day, some looking, some swinging. His stuff has been nasty so far in this one.
Brian Brown has matched him inning for inning. And for that reason, we are scoreless through 4. Bottom portion of the NC State lineup due up. Dethridge, Tatum, and Jarrett 0 for 3 on the day combined. Dethridge struck out in the second, one of Stallings' 6 strikeout victims. The 1-0 off the mound into center field. So Wolfpack with the leadoff runner on here in the 5th.
Dethridge electing to jump on a Stallings pitch early in the count. Probably a good move. Stallings struck out the last 2 batters he faced in Edwards and Bailey. Dethridge with a nice piece of hitting there, drove that one off the pitcher's mound into center field.
See Proctor stepping out right in front of Tatum, signaled the Duke infield as to how they want to approach Dethridge. Dethridge on the season, 14 of 19 in stolen base attempts. Tatum reached on an error committed by Loper-Fido in his first at bat and then was picked off on the base paths, caught in a rundown between first and second. Swung on and missed. Into the middle portion of the game, still scoreless and both pitchers rolling. Wonder if it's a small ball situation for the Wolfpack. Maybe have Dethridge try to steal second, bunt him to third.
I wonder if NC State looks back at that top of the first inning where they led the game off with 2 consecutive singles, runners on first and second, elected not to play small ball and bunt the runners over. Duke able to get out of the half inning, still scoreless in this game. We'll see if they revert back to the small ball plan here late in this one, as both teams unable to scratch one across yet.
The 0-1, off speed in for a strike. Just off the plate. Now 1-2 against Tatum. Tatum does not have a home run this season. 6 of NC State's 9 batters in the lineup have 4 or more. And instead, Tatum becomes strikeout number 7 for Stallings today.
Look like another breaking ball from Mitch Stallings. Let's take another look. Another great slider, started middle in, worked its way to the outer third of the plate, swung through by Tatum. And it's becoming apparent for these NC State hitters, if they want a chance at Mitch Stallings, they're going to have to jump on him early in the count, because with 2 strikes, he's throwing some devastating sliders as out pitches in this game.
Stallings had a season-high 9 strikeouts against Florida State in his last outing, and he has continued with that type of stuff here this afternoon. Already 7 strikeouts through 4 1/3 innings. Career high in strikeouts is 11. Did that a season ago. He's now moved into 12th all-time at Duke with 217 strikeouts. Certainly has some good stuff here today. Jarrett fouls that one away. Kind of a weird situation. The last time that Jarrett was up, Stallings appeared to have struck him out. Some question as to whether Proctor dropped the ball. Certainly didn't seem so on replay. Umpires disagreed. And was able to come back and get the strikeout again. The 0-1 misses. Dethridge and Loper-Fido occupying first base. Tell you what, NC State has obviously been a tremendous program for a long time. Same with North Carolina, and it certainly looks like Duke is here to stay with Coach Chris Pollard and what his staff has been able to do. I don't know if there's a better 30-minute region in the country between Duke, North Carolina, and NC State. Sent into left center. Bone drifting back. Tough play as Dethridge retreats.
They call it Tobacco Road, and it's known for its basketball, but its baseball is just as good. Duke, North Carolina, NC State, all within about 30 minutes of one another. We've mentioned East Carolina. They're a top 15 team down the road in Greenville, only about an hour, as we get another look at the pop fly to left field. Good job by Cone. No way that Jimmy Herron would get there. And then if you want to extend that region to just the Carolinas, you've got Coastal Carolina in the top 25, Clemson in the top 25.
South Carolina is always good. Swinging and missing is Dylan Cooper at the first pitch from Stallings. Now 2 away with the runner on first.
Not only is the talent good here in the Carolinas, how about the weather today?
No doubt.
Perfect 70 degrees, clear skies, not a cloud in the sky, very light breeze.
Breaking pitch has Cooper confused. Stallings looks almost as good as the weather. Look at that shot from the production crew, giving you a good idea of the scenery here at Jack Coombs Field in the Bull City, Durham, North Carolina. 0-2. Stallings ahead of the NC State third baseman. Stallings took that quarter step toward the dugout. Cooper lays off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well outside, and it's 2-2. Stark contrast between yesterday and today with what the Wolfpack has been able to do with 2 outs. It seemed like the nation's number 4 was at its best with 2 away yesterday. 0 for 3 in that situation today, but still an opportunity for Cooper. The 2-2. Off the corner, 3-2.
Big pitch here for Mitch Stallings. If he loses Cooper on deck, Josh McClain 2 for 2 on the day. 2 singles. There'll be an NC State runner in scoring position if Cooper finds a way to reach the bags.
Once again, full count, 2 away. Duke will not hold the first base runner on, and Dethridge. See Proctor give a wag of the finger, signal to the freshman first baseman. The 3-2 from Stallings. Dethridge off and running, but he can turn around and head to the dugout because Dylan Cooper becomes the 8th strikeout of the afternoon for Mitch Stallings. 1 away from his season high. The Duke lefty has put up 5 scoreless innings against the Wolfpack. Duke offense will try to give him some run support when we come back here in Game 2 between Duke and NC State. Great crowd in Durham. Bryant Brown back to the hill. 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts for the NC State ace. ERA down another 100th, as Ron is convinced that Bryant has the math already worked out as to how he can get to a sub-1 ERA today. Lebowski will try to help push that earned run average in a different direction, along with Smickless and Herron. Second time through the order. Lebowski walked in the second. First pitch swinging, lifted toward right. Despite the sun, a fairly easy catch for Dethridge, and there's 1 away.
These pitchers both having very similar afternoons. We mentioned both left-handers, both with similar stuff, not overpowering, throws a variety of pitches for a strike, breaking ball, change-ups, but both pitchers also in trouble early in this one. Runners in scoring position. Defense is able to bail them out of jams, and then the last couple innings, both Brown and Mitch Stallings have been cruising.
Smickless thinking about bunting his way on, takes a strike. Line drive into right center. That one will fall in front of Dethridge, and Duke has a runner on with 1 away, as Jimmy Herron will walk to the plate for his 3rd plate appearance of the afternoon. Really that 3rd time through, hitters, if they're going to make an adjustment, We're going to have some success. That tends to be where it happens, but against these two pitchers today, that's a tough ask.
The first two batters for the Blue Devils this afternoon both singled, and that's only the second hit since then. It's back in the bottom of the second. Conine singled, and right there, that Michael Smikolas single. Scattering 4 hits are the Blue Devils.
Smikolas has not attempted a steal yet this year. Aaron takes a ball. Preseason All-American this year, according to Baseball All-America, third teamer. Ahead in the count 2-0. Tremendous summer. Cape Cod League East Division MVP. Sky high pop-up. Drifting out toward right is Jarrett. Fights off the sun. Aaron swinging 2-0. Thought he had a pitch he could do something with, but stuff of Brian Brown just too good. See, the sun has given fielders trouble a bit. Everybody looking toward the sky after a play. It's Proctor. He'll try to keep the inning going. Throw over to first as Smikolas dancing around the first base bag.
Good example of Brown's ability to lift his front leg and judge. It looked like Smikolas was getting a little antsy down at first, and Brown electing to throw over at the last minute.
Same situation. Brown comes to the plate. And this is that time, 1-0.
I think Smikolas down at first has really learned that he can mess with Brown a little bit. He's got his feet moving all over the place when Brown picks his front leg up. Even if he's not intending to steal, he's got Brown thinking twice, and perhaps could have been the reason for that ball spiked down in the dirt. Brown more worried about Smikolas than the hitter in the batter's box.
Swung on and missed. Count evens at 1-1. Just 60 pitches to get through 4 2/3 for Brown. There goes Smikolas. Throw to second. Not in time, goes into about a step into the outfield turf. Backed up by Jarrett.
Here's the throw from Patrick Bailey. Pretty good transfer. Ball thrown on the wrong side of the bag with a short hop, and Smikolas too fast for NC State to overcome that. Another look, ball tailing to the other side. Smikolas with a small collision there at shortstop with Will Wilson. Got up a little bit slow. Looks like he'll be okay.
So now Smikolas in scoring position for the Duke catcher at the plate, ahead in the count, 2-1. Smikolas' first attempted steal all season. Successful. Gives Duke an opportunity with a runner in scoring position now. Blue Devils 0 for 5 in that regard today. Wolfpack not much better, 0 for 3. In fact, no better. Here's the 2-1. Toward first. Brown off the mound to the first base bag. Beats Proctor to first base. Those two maybe exchange a word or two. Pitchers have exchanged zeros here at Jack Coombs Field. Scoreless through 5. McLean, Kinnaman, Wilson, top of the order for the Wolfpack. When we come back for the top of the 6th, pitcher's duel here in Durham. Here, game 2. Top 10 matchup. And a game worthy of those rankings thus far. Hasn't been an offensive shootout, but a pitching showcase. Mitch Stallings, Brian Brown showing why they're 2 of the ACC's best. Punch for punch here at Jack Coombs Field. Lane has yet to be retired today. He has 2 of NC State's 4 hits, both singles. See the average all the way up to 363. The 1-0 misses, and it's 2-0. Mentioned yesterday that Coach Elliot Avon says McLean might be his most consistent center fielder ever, which is saying a whole lot considering the talent that has called Raleigh home over the years. The 2-0 in for a strike. There's Coach Avon for the Wolfpack. 22nd season at NC State, 821 wins, including yesterday, well over 1,000 overall. And that one's fair. McLean will reach base again. This time he won't have to stop at first. Stand-up double to lead things off for the NC State leadoff hitter. And you got to imagine you may see some small ball here. Very few opportunities for both teams against these lefties today.
NC State's 5th hit of the day. 3 from that young man. Great job going the other way. Here's another look. Bounces just over the first base bag. No chance for Loperfido there at first, and it'll rattle around. Good job by Conine to corral that one quickly. Plenty of speed. Josh McLean easily could have had a triple with a misplay in right field by Conine. Now Coach Pollard wants to come out and have a word. Not sure what this one's over.
He and Craig Barron having a discussion.
NC State only 5 hits. The man in the batter's box right now, Kinnaman, has 1. Be interesting to see if they do elect for the small ball.
So tempting with all the power in the 2, 3, and 4 spots. You wonder, though, if Kinnaman can lay down the bunt or if he'll even be asked to.
Proctor out in front of home plate, letting his infield know the signal for the bunt play if it is on. Lebowski not necessarily playing shallow at third base, still a couple steps back from the grass.
First pitch. Kinnaman is a strike. Stallings with 8 strikeouts on the afternoon. He would love number 9 right here. Ahead in the count, slightly, 0-1. Missed that time.
The Duke infield has the Kinnaman shift on again, and interesting dynamic here. Kinnaman not showing bunt, but in a bunt situation with a shift like this, it could potentially throw off your infield. Certainly don't typically practice bunt situations with this type of shift on.
Lebowski not as far into the 6 hole this time because of McLean at second. Has to be a little bit closer to third. The 1-1 pitch off speed off the plate, 2-1. See Josh McLean. 6 for 8 here in the first game and a half of this series. Just your routine 6 for 8 against a top 10 team on the road in the ACC. Ron Causey-like numbers.
I might still be playing if that was the case.
The 2-1 from Stallings, off speed. Kinnaman off balance.
Stallings so good with that pitch today. 2-1 hitters count. Kinnaman dead red fastball swung through the breaking ball. Stallings throws that pitch wherever he wants to at any time and any count.
Two balls, two strikes. Inside, count is full to Brett Kinnaman. .314 batting average on the season, hitting .352 with runners in scoring position, and that is the case here with nobody out. Even just moving McLean to third with less than 2 away would be productive here. The full count pitch from Stallings, and Kinnaman knew it right away. 9 strikeouts for Mitch Stallings, matches a season high.
That was the Mitch Stallings two-seam fastball. We've talked so much about his slider, and we've seen it 2 or 3 times in this game. Patrick Bailey got caught looking at a fastball right down Broadway, right there. Kinnaman, the same thing. They're looking breaking ball in those counts because Stallings has shown the ability to throw it for a strike, and all of a sudden he comes with the fastball and just totally freezes these hitters.
It's amazing. Neither guy has what you would call overpowering stuff, Stallings or Brown, but they can throw any pitch in any count. And all of the hitters today, for the most part, have looked challenged. Maybe McLean the exception as he stands on second. That'll bring up Will Wilson. A couple of flyouts to left today. One very deep, one not as much. Swinging through that one. Stallings gets ahead 0-1. NC State trying to bring around a leadoff double to take a 1-0 lead. Fouled away, and Stallings well ahead, 0-2.
A lot of people think overpowering is 94, 96 miles an hour, but overpowering as a pitcher is really based on the expectation of the hitter. If the hitter's looking for something 75, 74 miles an hour, a breaking pitch, and you come with 86, 87, that is overpowering relative to the hitter's expectations, and that's what we've seen Mitch Stallings be able to do today.
The 0-2 pitch will wait a second as Stallings spins and takes a look at McLean. Miller holding him on as the Blue Devils shift the other way for Wilson. Miller just about 2 steps to the second base side of the bag, just out of your picture right now. The 0-2 to Wilson. Toward right center, tailing away from Kenny Taylor. He's not going to get there. NC State will take the lead here in the top of the 6th. Digging for third, a stand-up triple for Wilson. And the Wolfpack lead 1-0.
We've been waiting to see who would strike first. Both of these pitchers have been so good, and it's Will Wilson in the NC State Wolfpack offense. Another look at the swing. That was a breaking ball left about waist high right over the center of the plate. Kenny Taylor in center field, plenty of speed, but this ball plays perfectly in the gap. One hops the fence in right center field. Coming around to score, Josh McLean, a great piece of hitting by Will Wilson, and Wolfpack are on the board. Duke will bring the infield in to try to keep them from scoring 2 runs here in the top of the 6th inning.
Just one away, Evan Edwards at the plate. Struck out on his last at-bat. Stallings misses with that pitch. Mitch Stallings trying to limit the damage here. Hold the Wolfpack to just 1 run. Brown threw a complete game in his last outing, has only thrown 62 pitches through 5 innings thus far today.
Coming into the top of the 6th inning, NC State had 4 hits, all 4 singles. And here we are in this half, a double and a triple. As looks like there'll be a conference on the mound. Duke pitching coach Dusty Blake out to talk to his southpaw, Mitch Stallings.
Obviously an important part of this game.
Right now you've got Evan Edwards at the plate. He is 0 for 2, but on deck, Patrick Bailey. Bailey 0 for 2 on the day with 2 strikeouts, and you wonder if they can get past Edwards here, pitching creatively, maybe put the double play in order. Stallings had pretty good luck against Bailey today. Bailey, however, with a big day yesterday against Adam Lasky. Let's pick your poison with the middle of this NC State lineup.
No activity yet in the Duke bullpen. Really the first bit of true trouble for Stallings since the first here in the 6th. Edwards ahead in the count, 2-0. And now 3-0. You mentioned, Ron, that first base is open. Don't know that Stallings is going to give in to Edwards here with anything that Edwards can do a great deal with. The 3-0 pitch on the outside corner for a strike.
I've got to think the Duke infield will be much more comfortable playing regular depth rather than on the cut of the grass. As fast as a ground ball can skip across this turf here at Jack Coombs Field. That one did catch the outside corner, so Mitch Stallings not necessarily intentionally walking.
The 3-1 off speed. Thought Edwards looking for something else, and suddenly Stallings has worked the count full.
This is an interesting pitch because he's been so good with that breaking ball today, but in this situation, 3-2, when a NC State hitter has been looking breaking ball, he's blown fastball by him many times.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Looked like it might have been a fastball. Conine settles under it in right field. Charging the ball. The throw on the way home. Is it going to be in time? It is! Wilson cut down at home plate. Avon out to argue. They may take another look at this one. What a throw from Conine in right. Conine timed it well, was charging the ball when he caught it. Throw right on target. Proctor foot in front of the plate. Decent slide. Looked to be in time in terms of the tag.
Based on my perspective, with an eye on the runner at third base, even if they did say he beat the throw, I'm not so sure he didn't leave a step early before Conine actually caught that ball in right field. And you alluded to it, Conine doing a great job knowing the tag-up situation, keeping his body behind the ball, catching it with his momentum, going towards home plate. Great one-hop throw into Proctor, who applied the tag. And we'll see what this conference results in, as it was a bang-bang play at home plate. But if the call is overturned, it'll be interesting to see if they do take a look to see if perhaps the runner at third base, Will Wilson, did leave a step early before the ball hit the mitt of Griffin Conine.
There you see Wilson, Elliott Avon in the foreground for the second time today. The third out of a Wolfpack offensive inning is called into question. The Blue Devils conference, their third base. We'll take another look. We won't get to see the runner, obviously, in this shot, but we'll get to see the tag. Conine Great throw, right on target, very close. You see the punch out from the home plate umpire, Craig Barron. That look right there, it seems as though Wilson might have gotten the hand in. Here's that first look again, slowed down. Hand and tag might have gotten the hand in underneath. Another look from that second angle. Proctor has the ball, but Wilson obviously sliding toward the back of the plate, and Proctor has to bring the tag all the way across. Looks to me as though the runner is safe if I had to go one way or the other. Obviously, it's got to be conclusive. All the things you're used to hearing now when it comes to replay.
Yeah, very, very close there. It looked like Wilson may have gotten the hand in there, but again, if that ends up being the call on the field, you've got to go back and look to see if Wilson took off a step early. On a tag play, you've got to let the outfielder catch the ball before you can leave the bag. And that's what I'm most curious about now, is if that hand was in fact in there, did Wilson tag up properly?
Extended conference here. Even talking with Craig Barron. Talk about a big call here. My goodness. Difference between 1-0 and 2-0. End of the inning versus not, as Stallings throws a couple of warm-up pitches. Key here is the call on the field is out at home, so it does have to be conclusive. Looked to me as though Wilson may have slid in under the tag. What a great throw by Conine to even make this close.
Yeah, perfect throw. That was, ball was hit about halfway into the outfield. Conine with a great job timing it, one hop throw. I mean, it had to be perfect to give him a chance. And even on the replays we saw, when it looked like Wilson may have got a hand in there, you kind of had to use your imagination and fill the gap, because there was really not a view that conclusively showed that he was safe. Let's see what they come up with here on the field.
Officials still looking at the monitor, actually communicating with our production crew, looking for the different replays. So this is very much a fluid situation here. Well, all that's at stake is a conference top 10 win for both of these teams. So, not a whole lot. State, of course, looking for the series win today. Duke hoping to force Game 3 to decide the series. There's Chris Pollard as he awaits the call. Bang, bang play at home plate.
This would be a very tough play to overturn. That being said, I wonder if they did overturn the play, if Duke, when the ball is put back in play, appealed to third base, if perhaps one of the umpires got a view of the tag up. Again, looked like Wilson possibly could have left a half step before, and it sounds like that will be the challenge, just getting the news that they're going to challenge that the runner left early. So we'll see the result of that.
We're going to try to patch together a few different views here, give you a look at third base. In the meantime, Don't often see this extended break, and Wolfpack getting good news as the crowd in red erupts now. So perhaps, okay, half of this is settled. So now the call on the field becomes run scores. Duke, though, challenging the early departure from third, perhaps. So I don't know that we're out of the woods just yet, although the umpire's returning to their positions, so looks like we're ready to play some baseball again. Huge, huge overturn here in the top of the sixth. That's close too. There you see the split screen, runner leaving, and the catch being made. We'll roll it back here again. On the right, Conine.
That's as close as the play at the plate was.
Absolutely. Ball is in the glove now. Goodness. Talk about the bullpens opening up another bag of sunflower seeds. We should get one up here in the booth.
That's right.
This challenge has lasted longer than most of the innings here this afternoon. The pitchers have been so efficient.
And I'm almost out of Doritos.
Which is an issue, as Ron Causey's known for his hangriness in the late innings. Let's give you a recap of what the pitchers have done here. Ryan Brown, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Has thrown a wild pitch. Only 62 pitches total, 42 of them strikes. ERA down to 1.01. Mitch Stallings recently notified, along with the rest of his teammates, that he just surrendered a second earned run. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits. Has not walked a batter, has struck out 9. 91 pitches thrown, 51 of them strikes. Completely different feel to this game than yesterday. NC State really blew the game open in the top of the 4th. Led 8-1 after 4. Today, Wolfpack coming up with the first run for either team here in the top of the 6th, and then by centimeters scoring run number 2. What a slide by Wilson, by the way. I haven't talked about that really since the call was overturned. Tremendous job as the now second half of this review taking place. So first it was whether Wilson scored. If he was deemed out, obviously this would be rendered moot. Now it's whether Wilson left the bag early. If he did, it's by fractions of an inch. I think that one might be even harder to overturn.
Looked like his heel started to move before his toe actually left the bag, so it's a little bit deceiving. You see his heel move right there. The ball's not there yet, but his toe still barely hanging onto the edge of the bag. So it's going to be very, very tough to overturn that call.
Looks as though the foot is on the bag.
I mean, that is literally perfect base running by Will Wilson. He timed that perfectly within a split second, made a perfect slide into home plate, and it looks like that call will stand. That'll be the second run of the afternoon for the Wolfpack.
So there have been 3 conversations. All 3 have gone in favor of the Wolfpack, and that's not to insinuate anything other than coincidence, to be honest and to be completely clear. First time it was whether or not a foul ball was dropped by Chris Proctor behind the plate. Then there was the slide by Wilson. Then there was whether or not Wilson left third base early. By the way, Brian Brown has been sitting for, has to be 10, 15 minutes at least at this point. It's actually a little surprised not to see him jog down, throw a couple of warm-up pitches. There are 2 away. It's a 2-0 count to Patrick Bailey, who is 0 for 2, has struck out twice today. What a huge, huge momentum play.
Runs have been hard to come by for both teams today, and that second one for the Wolfpack, when you're talking about inches of difference in safe and out.
Grounded toward the Duke dugout. Count is even at 2-2 to Patrick Bailey. Yeah, I don't know if that game of inches cliche applies any more to a game than it has today. Difference between fair and foul down the baselines. We've seen at least a couple of those. The play at the plate. Play at third. 2-2 pitch from Stallings is lined into left field. No! Cone forces me to correct myself. The shortstop on the line drive gets the third out of the inning, but the Wolfpack score 2. Wilson's brilliant slide doubling the Wolfpack's offensive output. Here in the top of the 6th, Duke now forced to come up with an answer. Cone, after the line drive, will lead things off. To the bottom half of the 6th after an adventurous top half. 2 runs for the Wolfpack. The second of which, yes, easy for me to say, requiring 2 different replays. Brian Brown to the mound has only thrown 62 pitches. Starts Cone off with a strike. Kent Kleiman is warming for NC State in the bullpen. Brown has been fantastic. Maybe that's just some insurance in case he finds some struggles here in the bottom of the 6th. That doesn't appear like it's going to be the case after starting Zach Cone off 0-2. The 0-2 to number 2. Cone watches that one go by for a ball.
All off speed to Zach Cone right now from Brian Brown. 3 in a row now, 1 for a ball, 2 for strikes.
The 1-2 pitch. Cone lifts it into shallow left. Drifting out actually from short is Wilson, who was the one involved with the play. The second run of the inning for NC State. So he triples in the first run, scores the second one with immaculate base running, and comes up with the first out of the bottom of the 6th. Joey Loperfido has yet to make contact in fair territory against Brian Brown. Struck out both times. There's a good look at Kleiman. Loperfido thinks about a bunt. Hard hit ball to right field, and that'll drop in for a single.
Good adjustment by Loperfido. Struck out twice, swinging. Back in the first inning, third inning, right there. Bottom of the 6th, Blue Devil runner on base, takes a fastball and drives it to the right side. Nice line drive off the bat. Joey Loperfido, the Blue Devil first baseman.
In steps Kenny Taylor. Grounded out in the first inning, struck out in the 4th. Loperfido, 8 steals in 12 attempts this year. Got caught leaning the wrong way there just a touch. First pitch to Taylor, swung on and missed. Get the sense that that second run is going to play a significant part of this game. Taylor fouls that one away, and it's 0-2.
Off-speed pitch followed by that fastball. Jumped on Kenny Taylor pretty quickly, was a little bit behind it, fouled it straight back.
The 0-2 pitch. Into the turf, 1-2. Bailey blocks it easily. Wonder if Loperfido will be off and running with 2 strikes here and 1 away. Try to get a runner in scoring position for Griffin Conine. 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 5 for Brian Brown today. Coach Elliott Avon out to discuss things with his starter. Tells his infield to hang back, and that'll be it. That's a signal to the bullpen. It was. Interesting. Wonder if perhaps the coaching staff saw something with Brown that would make you think he suffered an injury of some kind. Obviously, he was dealing this entire game. Only at 72 pitches. We don't want to, nor are we in the business of speculation, but Brown is pulled with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Loperfido on first, Conine due up. Interesting development.
Maybe his ERA finally went under 1 and they said that's it.
.99 it is. We'll give you the numbers on Kent Kleiman, who has come on in relief. 2-0 Wolfpack here in game 2.
500 each. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
There is Brian Brown, not being looked at by anybody in particular. May have just been on a pitch count for today. 5 2/3, 5 hits, no runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The final line for the NC State ace. Kent Kleiman comes on after Brown threw 72 pitches. Kleiman on the season, 3-1 with a 2.51 ERA. This is his 20th appearance. 32 1/3 innings pitched, 19 hits, 9 earned runs, 30 strikeouts to 13 walks. Opponents hitting 167 off the left-hander. So Conine, the first to face the NC State reliever, and he misses high and inside. The 1-0 to Conine misses, and it's 2-0.
Well, it was Reed Johnston yesterday, the NC State starting pitcher. Today, Brian Brown, both having quality starts, extending late into the game, taking the pressure off of this NC State bullpen.
Kleiman falls behind Conine, 2-0. Conine fouls that one away. The 2-1 pitch. It's a small sample size, but Griffin Conine certainly looks like he has found whatever has been missing for a majority of the season. He has consistently run now in the last couple of games, gone the other way and back up the middle with some power.
That's
great sign for him.
That's when you know a hitter like Conine is locked in. That's what we saw in his last at-bat last night. Hard line drive to left center field, right in the gap. Nice piece of patient hitting there, taking the off speed the other way for the left-hander.
So Conine with 1-2 out hit. Miller now trying for a second. Miller flew out and grounded out against Brown. Takes that one for a strike, and Kleiman's ahead 0-2. No activity in the Duke bullpen, so it looks like it's Mitch Stallings that'll come out for the 7th inning. Miller stays alive.
Miller shortens the swing there, gets a piece of that fastball from the arm of Kent Kleiman. Staying alive, 0-2.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 away, 2-0. NC State in game 2. Swung on and missed. Kleiman gets Miller to end the inning. Another couple of runners left on base for the Blue Devils. That makes 7 here in the afternoon. Dethridge, Tatum, and Jarrett will try to add to the lead. Kleiman comes on in relief of Brown and polishes off the bottom of the 6th. Interesting game, just a 2-0 score, but we've had a whole lot more activity than that. We've had home runs taken away, replays on plays at the plate, and 2 tremendous efforts from starting pitchers today. Here's Jimmy Herron, by the way, in the top of the 1st inning, saving potentially a 3-run home run. Stallings has had it dialed in all afternoon. 9 strikeouts and counting. Brown was fantastic for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, Brown, the anchor of this Wolfpack defense today. Plenty of strikeouts, mixing up his pitches, throwing breaking balls and hitters counts. And there's a look, breaking ball down at the dirt, chased by Kenny Taylor. Back to Stallings now, strikeout package. Painted on the outside corner. This one a double down the right field line that led for a few runs for NC State. The double hit in the gap, chased down by Kenny Taylor, scores a couple runs, or a run for NC State, and then Zach Cohn backpedaling for the Blue Devils.
Here's the play that took a long time to adjudicate. Fly to right, Conine makes the catch and makes an excellent throw to home. Initial call was out at the plate. That was reviewed. It was ruled that Wilson got his hand in ahead of the tag of Proctor. Then Duke countered that review with a review of their own to make sure he didn't leave third base early. Great job by our production crew to give you that look right here on the split screen. Heel in motion, but the toe seems to still be on the bag. So the second run for NC State counts. And that is how we've gotten to what from the outside must seem like a rather mild 2-0 score, but it's been anything but here in this top 10 matchup at Jack Coombs Field. Stallings begins the top of the 7th with a breaking ball strike to Brock Dethridge, who's 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Stallings near 100 pitches, and with that, first movement in the Duke bullpen. Swinging strike by Dethridge has Stallings well ahead 0-2. Ethan DeCaster getting warm for the Blue Devils. DeCaster has been terrific this year. Graduate transfer. A major part of the Duke bullpen. Coming in from Creighton University, line drive right at Miller. Hard hit baseball, but Dethridge a bit unlucky there, and there's one away.
Miller didn't have to move a step for that one, just got down in his squat like a catcher, and that would have been right over home plate. Blue Devils second baseman, who did not play yesterday, steps in today and solidifies that defensive position.
Terrell Tatum reached on an error, has also struck out. Stallings misses with a ball. Going the other way, bouncing that one in front of Jimmy Herron is Tatum. He'll reach with his first hit of the afternoon. Tatum was picked off of first back in the second inning. JT Jarrett comes to the plate. Of course, the Wolfpack would love to add a run or two here. Jarrett struck out looking in the second, flew out in the fifth. Talk about that play from Miller. That one was one of the easier ones he'll have to deal with. 168 chances at second base this year. 0 errors. For a middle infielder to have a fielding percentage of 1,000, playing every day for almost 40 games, is remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. And usually when you look at the error numbers, percentages may be higher, but the total errors are going to be most in the middle infield because they get the most chances. And to have not made an error this entire season, Max Miller, just a tremendous defender for this Duke defense. Proctor leaves his position from behind home plate to go out and have a word with his starting pitcher, Mitch Stallings. Stallings now through 6 1/3. We mentioned a little bit of action down in the Duke bullpen. It's starting to get hotter down there.
There's the view that Stallings has of Tatum at first. Over 100 pitches now for Mitch Stallings. Quality start to this point. As DeCaster continues to warm down the left field line. And he may be warm enough that he'll come in to face JT Jarrett. Stallings checking over at first a couple of times, perhaps to buy more time. See the funky delivery from DeCaster. Or you'll get to see it once he comes into the game. That'll do it for Mitch Stallings. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, just 2 runs allowed. Both of them earned, 9 strikeouts. On 102 total pitches, he leaves with his team trailing by 2. But after a tremendous effort, DeCaster is on. The righty replacing the lefty. Will give you his numbers when we come back. Here in the top of the 7th, NC State trying to add to a 2-0 lead. Tatum is on first. It's game 2 of 3 here on ACC Network Extra. Back at Jack Coombs Field, where Ethan DeCaster will take over for Mitch Stallings. DeCaster 3-0 on the season. This will be his 14th appearance, a .32 ERA. 28 1/3 innings pitched, has only given up 1 earned run in his 13 appearances so far. Funky delivery, funky arm angle, totally different look. One thing to go from lefty to righty, it's another thing to go from traditional to sidearm. Steven Patera will pinch hit for NC State. Patera will hit for Jarrett as the Wolfpack go with the lefty as opposed to Jarrett the righty. Patera, first pitch swinging off the bench. Miller chases that one down onto first, 2 away. Patera had missed quite a bit of time this year. Only his 12th appearance this season. Such a big part of what NC State does. Coach Elliott Avon said, if you would have told me you'd be a top 5 team with him missing this much time, I would have thought you were crazy. That's certainly not to mean anything disparaging to the rest of his ball players, but that's just how valuable Patera is. Comes on in a pinch hitting role here against DeCaster. So now 2 away as Tatum advances to second. Dylan Cooper at the plate. Swings through that first offering. Cooper calls time. Wolfpack 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position today. Cooper trying to make that 2 for 6. Or at least reach base and pass the baton. McLean, who has yet to be retired this afternoon. Miller to first. NC State is retired here in the 7th. Lebowski, Smiglis, Heron due up for Duke. Blue Devils trying to make up a 2-run deficit and even the series at 1 game apiece. They'll do it against the NC State bullpen. Kleiman back out to the mound for another inning of work for Coach Elliott Avon. Back at Jack Coombs Field. Terra stays on to play second base for the Wolfpack. After pinch hitting in the top half of the inning for JT Jarrett. So that's just a pure offensive and defensive substitution for the Wolfpack. Lebowski steps to the dish, a walk and a fly out against Brown. First time he will face Kleiman. Kleiman gave up a hit, but then able to get the Wolfpack out of the bottom half of the 6th. He starts Lebowski off with a strike. And he blows the fastball right by the Duke third baseman.
It's an important time right now for the Duke offense to not only try to claw back in this game with some runs, but just have some quality at bats, extend the pitch counts.
Off the plate, 1-2. Smiglis on deck, and then the lineup turns back over to Jimmy Heron. That foul ball knocks the mask right off of Bailey.
A couple good fastballs there from Kent Kleiman. Lebowski just staying alive, getting a piece of that last one, 1-2 to the Blue Devil big man. It'll be Lebowski, Smiglis, then back to the top of the order for Duke. Down to their last 9 offensive outs. There's another look. Fastball off the bat of Lebowski and then off the face mask of Patrick Bailey.
The 1-2 from Kleiman misses, and the count is even at 2-2. In the right field, and Lebowski. A leadoff single going the other way. So he and Conine both. That was a little bit of a story coming into the game. Would they be able to find their groove at the plate? Both guys now have gone the other way for hits today. Smiglis now steps to the plate. He represents the tying run. This is by no means out of reach for Duke by any stretch. Just a 2-0 game here in the bottom of the 7th. Strike 1 from Kleiman.
Kleiman showing a lot of fastball, unlike the Wolfpack starter, Bailey, or Brian Brown, I should say. Mixed up a lot of off speed early in the count. Kleiman likes that fastball.
0-2 now. Lebowski has not been caught in 8 stealing attempts this year. An 0-2 count on Smiglis. Smiglis goes the other way. Back-to-back hits for the Blue Devils here in the bottom of the 7th with nobody out. And now Heron steps to the plate. Do you go with the bunt to move the runners up? And with Heron's speed, maybe he even can make a single out of that.
You hate to give up an out as we take another look at the line drive to left field. Duke offensively in general doing a great job going to opposite field, and that felt like a big at bat. First and second, nobody out. Duke's great at the small ball game. Jimmy Heron handles the bat well, can lay down the sacrifice bunt, no problem. Also has the wheels to potentially beat out a bunt attempt. But on deck, you've got Chris Proctor, who does have a single on the day and handles the bat well. A guy that you'd expect to be able to drive in a run with less than 2 outs.
See what Coach Chris Pollard elects to do with his leadoff hitter. Singled back in the first to lead off the game. swinging away, taking a pitch outside for a ball. It's 1-0. So Herron obviously not showing bunt on that pitch. NC State defense playing Herron as if he's going to swing away. Corner infielders even with the bag. The 1-0 is in there for a strike, 1-1.
Both of these teams having a lot of faith in their offense to get the job done situationally, swinging the bat. Not a whole lot of bunt attempts today. NC State had the same situation in the top of the first inning, elected to swing away.
Herron lifts that one foul, and it's 1-2. Kleiman just about a strikeout per inning. Would love to get one here. That's the last thing that Jimmy Herron wants. Guy that has walked more than he has struck out in his career. Coming into today, 28 walks to 19 strikeouts for the season. The 1-2 count. 2-2. Tense moments here in Jack Coombs Field. Game 2 very much in the balance. The 2-2 from Kleiman off speed, just missed. That one had a ton of break on it. You can see it from our angle. Didn't miss by a whole lot. And now the count is full.
Duke had the same opportunity in the bottom of the first inning. Runners at first and second, unable to scratch across the run.
The 3-2 from Kleiman. Popped up into the infield. Herron smashes the bat. Infield fly rule in effect. One away. Unproductive for Jimmy Herron.
The only thing worse than a pop-up to the infield in that situation is a ground ball double play. Completely unproductive. You said it, about the equivalent to a strikeout in that situation because the infield fly rule is in play. So unable to lift something to the outfield, allow the runner at second base, Jack Lebowski, to tag to get to third. With one out, runners stay put, first and second.
So it's Proctor's turn. He also singled in the first. 1 for 3 on the day. First pitch to Proctor is taken for a ball. Zach Cohn on deck, hitless today, but 2 for 4 yesterday. Great opportunity for Duke to cut into the deficit, partially if not totally. Craig Barron thought about that one for half a second, called it a strike, 1-1.
Well-located fastball, outer portion down by the knees. Duke fans did not like the call.
The 1-1. Bounce towards second. Might not be hard hit enough for a double play. In fact, Wilson won't even attempt to throw to first. First and third, 2 outs though. Kleiman has hunkered down here after allowing first and second with nobody out. It'll take a 2-out hit now from Zach Cohn if Duke is to make anything of the bottom of the 7th.
State did a great job driving in runs with 2 outs yesterday. Duke's been unable to do so in this series. Big spot here for Zach Cohn.
Duke 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. That one's in for a strike. Duke has yet to find that spark this weekend. Cohn trying to do that for Duke. Instead, it's a 2-hopper to second base. They'll go the short way. Patera makes the play. Disappointing for the Blue Devils. First and second with nobody out, but unable to come up with the goods against Kleiman. NC State carries some momentum and a 2-0 lead into the top of the 8th as they look for the series win here in Durham. Look inside the Duke dugout. Gaster back on the mound. McLean to lead off. 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double today. Takes a strike from DeCaster.
Take a look at that DeCaster two-seam fastball. It just dives down towards the end of that motion.
The 0-1, swung on and missed. See, DeCaster has nasty stuff. How awkward is it to try to hit against somebody with that arm angle?
Well, that three-quarter arm angle, you've got that two-seam that runs in on you and then a little cutter that runs away. That's the pitch we just saw. And there it is again. And from this angle, it's great to see. You see that three-quarter and the way he releases it, it's either going to tail into a right-handed hitter or it's going to cut away from him. And it's hard to tell until the pitch is halfway to home plate.
The 1-2. Fouled away. McLean has almost half of NC State's hits today. Duke has actually out-hit NC State 8-7. But it's been situational hitting that has crushed the Blue Devils today. They've left 9 runners on base. The 1-2. McLean did not offer. Duke 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, 1 for 8 with 2 outs. 3 for 16 with runners on at all. The 2-2 to McLean. High pop fly. Taylor underneath it, and McLean is retired for the first time today and just the 3rd time this weekend. As he is now hitting a meager 6 for 9 in the series. Wonder if Elliott Avent will bench him for Sunday after that.
Yeah, he needs to sit down and think about his performance a little bit. 6 for 9, top 10 matchup in the ACC on a Saturday.
Caster deals a strike to Kinnaman. It's almost a shock when McLean isn't standing on base. Kinnaman singled all the way back in the first, has struck out twice since then. Cone from shallow left, strong arm, and Loperfido is there to snag it. Long throw for Zach Cone in time. And there are 2 away.
The Duke scouting report paid off on the shift. You'll see the positioning of Zach Cone right behind the second base bag. Hit hard, bounced off the mound a little bit to Zach Cone's right, but does a good job and makes that throw off of his back foot in time to get Kinnaman down the first baseline.
Cone really couldn't step into the throw either. Kind of threw it standing straight up. Still had the strong enough arm to get the job done. Foul tip from Wilson. Suffice it to say that Wilson has been the most vital player in this game. Drove in a run with an RBI triple in the 6th and then scored on an incredibly close play. On a sacrifice fly, the very next batter. So in one way or another, he's responsible for all of the runs scored today. As DeCaster gets ahead of him 0-2. First triple of the season for Wilson. And the 0-2. Misses, 1-2. Loperfido, Taylor, and Conine due up for Duke. Blue Devils down to their final 6 outs. That'll even the count at 2-2.
DeCaster's delivery is a little bit east to west. When he comes set, he closes that front shoulder before the delivery, and that three-quarter arm angle kind of slings around his body.
Misses again. The count is 3-2. DeCaster has only walked 2 batters in 28 1/3 innings this year. He and Jack Lebowski have combined to throw 46 and a third innings and have given up 1 earned run. Speaking of Lebowski, he is called off by Cone. And the Wolfpack is retired in the top of the 8th. 2-0 NC State here in Game 2, looking for a top 10 series win on the road in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Loperfido, Taylor, and Conine due up for Duke. 28 pitches on the afternoon for Kent Kleiman. Through an inning and a third, 3 hits, no runs. Duke had first and second with nobody out at the bottom of the 7th. The pop out on the infield for Jimmy Herron, though, halting whatever momentum the offense had gained against the left-hander. Joey Loperfido, who singled in his last at-bat, will lead things off for Duke. First pitch swinging, 0-1.
Duke with 8 hits on the day, all 8 singles, unable to find an extra base hit, especially when they need it with runners in scoring position.
To be honest, Duke hasn't found any kind of hit with runners in scoring position. Extra bases, single bases. 0 for 10 in that regard this afternoon. Loperfido ahead in the count now, 2-1 after consecutive balls out of the left hand of Kleiman. Lifted toward left, moderately deep. Kinnaman makes the catch. It's always adventurous out there with Kinnaman. He has had some tough conditions to deal with, hard hit baseballs. He's been up to the task. 1 away as Taylor steps to the plate.
Very fundamental play out and left by Kinnaman. When he saw that ball hit over his head, he dropped his head and ran. Got a few good steps right there, and then he turns, picks it up, catches it over his head, full speed.
Sky high pop up toward the NC State dugout. That'll find the hill, or actually the roof of the dugout, and then the hill. Taylor behind 0-2, hoping to avoid striking out for the 3rd straight plate appearance. Griffin Conine in behind Taylor. The 0-2. Swung on and missed. Rough weekend for Kenny Taylor. 5 strikeouts now in the first 2 games.
Another look at the fastball. Looked like Patrick Bailey wanted that pitch on the outer part of the plate, so far ahead, but left it right down Broadway, and you see Patrick Bailey reaching back over the plate to make the catch, but didn't make much of a difference. Kenny Taylor swung through that fastball for strike 3.
Taylor did have the triple yesterday, scored a run. As Conine takes a ball. Fouled straight back. The 1-1 from Kleiman. It's going to be 1. Make it 2 for Conine. The error out in left center field allows the extra base. Conine trying to pump up his teammates, trying to do anything he can, get the juices flowing a little bit. Even though Duke has 9 hits now today, they just have not been able to string together anything consistently. Certainly not when they've needed it with 2 outs, with runners in scoring position. Something Coach Pollard talked about yesterday, putting together consecutive 2, 3, 4 at-bats in a row that are productive. scored a double. Thought it might have been a single with an error. I don't know that Conine would have taken second base if not for that bobble. Regardless, it's Miller at the plate. Behind in the count, 0-1. Towards short, on the short hop, across the diamond, but the throw gets away. Miller strays off first. Conine comes around to score. Miller dives back, and it's a 2-1 game. There's your 2-out hit. There's your hit with runner in scoring position as Miller delivers after missing yesterday's game 1, back in the lineup today. Comes through in the clutch, as is his reputation.
That's the break the Blue Devils needed. Great job putting the bat on the ball hard to the left side. Nearly caught in the air, but a nice backhanded pick by Will Wilson across the diamond. Just a little bit of a short hop. Unable to handle it was Evan Edwards, and coming around to score Griffin Conine after that single with an error or double, depending on how they end up scoring that one. And Duke's right back in this ball game.
Suddenly, Lebowski comes to the plate with the tying run at first. He represents the go-ahead run. Certainly has plenty of power. Kleiman throws a strike. Interesting that the play before was not ruled an error. That play was ruled an error. Wilson from a knee basically on the short hop, trying to throw it all the way across, bounced it well in front of Edwards, who couldn't come up with the play. I almost feel like that's a tougher error than the play in left center.
I think you're right. I don't think Conine ever would have extended to second base if that ball hadn't been mishandled out in left field by Brett Kinnaman. And that play, that ask of Will Wilson right there on that backhanded shortstop in the 6 hole to come across the diamond and finish that play, very unlikely.
Climbing ahead 0-2 to Lebowski. Lebowski stares at strike 3. So Kleiman comes back to get his man, but Duke puts up a run in the bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th inning here at Jack Coombs Field. The Wolfpack leads Duke 2-1. Tension building here in Durham. Edwards, Bailey, and Dethridge trying to add to a 1-run lead for NC State. Ethan DeCaster trying to hold this to a 2-1 game to let his offense go back to work as we take a closer look at the delivery for the Duke reliever. DeCaster, the transfer. Stay in from behind, strike taken by Edwards. The 0-1. Joe O'Donnell warming for NC State in the bullpen. 7 saves on the year. He has been lights out. 1 earned run in 16 innings. Likely to get the call. Try to sit down Smickless, Heron, and Proctor, who are due up for the Blue Devils. Loperfido comes up with the diving grab, tries to throw it to DeCaster. Proctor smartly backing up the play. Loperfido frustrated with himself, but I'm not sure that was good, an easy play to make. Ranging well to his right.
So many moving parts in a play like that. We'll take another look. Pretty hard hit chopper. Loperfido does a great job to even get a glove on that ball. Bounces up. Has a little trouble with the transition there, you can tell. But between his diving play towards the inside part of the bag and DeCaster coming over on the run, trying to catch that ball and find the first base bag, all while beating the runner, Evan Edwards, to the bag. Very low percentage chance of making that play, but great effort by Loperfido down at first base for Duke.
Patrick Bailey, 0 for 3 on the day, lined out to short in the 6th. Edwards leads off first. Early square for Bailey, who pops up the bunt.
Bailey, a switch hitter who, in a sacrifice bunt situation, has definitely benefited by batting out of the left-handed batter's box puts him a few steps closer to first base. Obviously in a sacrifice situation, not looking to bunt for a base hit or even lay down that perfect bunt. Just do your job, move the runner to second, and sacrifice yourself.
Doesn't square early this time. We'll see if he bunts as the pitch is delivered. First time is called. NC State would love to give Joe O'Donnell another run to work with. The 0-1 as DeCaster sets.
Lebowski down at third for Duke, standing around the cut of the grass. Not sure if Patrick Bailey's going to attempt another bunt. Very easy to pop a bunt up off a pitcher who's got such good downward angle and two-seam motion as DeCaster.
Here is the 0-1. Lifted to shallow left. Aaron has a beat on it, and there's one away. Edwards trots back to first.
We've done a lot of talking about DeCaster's two-seam motion, that three-quarter arm angle. Here's a great look. Check him close his front shoulder, drop that arm down, and watch the movement on this pitch. That's a fastball, ladies and gentlemen. That ball is tailing back 6 inches from where it started, and that's why DeCaster has so much success on the mound. Everybody knows a slider, a curveball has movement in it, but when your fastball slides that far, you're going to have great success as a pitcher.
Brock Deathridge and his .314 batting average step to the plate. One away here in the top of the 9th. Pitch out, throwing behind. Edwards back in plenty of time.
Loperfido caught a little bit out of position there. When that throw came from Proctor, he was 2 or 3 steps from the first base bag. The throw would have been a bang-bang play. However, he had to scramble back a couple steps to make the tag. So in easily was Evan Edwards.
Bunt is laid down. DeCaster fields it, fires to first. A little high for Loperfido, but he's able to make the play easily. 2 away.
Interesting that we just brought up the two-seam movement from the arm of DeCaster, because that same thing applies when he's fielding his position, and sometimes that can be tough for first baseman taking that hot throw from a pitcher who's got that three-quarter arm angle. That one came in a little high. Loperfido able to handle it, however.
So Terrell Tatum, a chance with 2 outs to extend the lead. That one misses. Tatum singled in the 7th. 1 for 3 on the day. Reached base back in the 2nd inning. That was on an error by Loperfido. Hard hit ground ball that glanced off of his glove. The throw to second. Caster looked like he may have had Edwards leaning the wrong way.
Both teams know how important that run is at second base. Edwards obviously trying to get a nice secondary. The Duke infield talking to one another, knock it down, knock it down. Any ground ball, if they can keep it in the infield, even if they can't convert the out, they'll prevent the run from scoring.
The 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed. The 1-1 from DeCaster. Another swinging strike. Tatum takes a second to gather himself. DeCaster hoping to end the inning here. Give his offense a chance to tie it with 1 run as opposed to needing more. Here's the 1-2. Line drive, base hit left field. Heron charging the ground ball. The throw to home in plenty of time. The tag in time as well. They'll say the ball came out on the transfer. We'll see if we have another conversation about another play at the plate. No doubt the ball came out of the glove of Proctor. Home plate umpire Craig Barron says it was on the transfer well after the tag was applied. My goodness, can we just get a non-controversial play at the plate? Great piece of hitting, obviously, by Tatum. Heron charging the ground ball hard. A great throw. Proctor fields it. Looks like the tag in plenty of time. Holds onto it. I think a very good call there. Certainly lost it in the transfer. To be honest, I think everything has been correct in the way that it's been adjudicated. I think the overturn on the replay, while close, was the right call. I think the toe of Wilson was on third base. I don't think he left early before Conine caught it. And I think that this was on the transfer as well. There'll be another replay.
NC State running the bases very aggressively. Evan Edwards being rounded around third base before he even got to third base. Heron didn't even had the ball before he got to third. They're rounding him hard. He made the turn. Pretty good speed, but a better throw by Jimmy Heron. Good job by Proctor to step to the inside part of foul ground, corral that ball, dive across, and you could almost tell Proctor made sure he got that tag down as quickly as possible. Looked like a clear out from here, but they'll take another look in a tight game here in the top 10 matchup in the top of the ninth inning. Every run counts.
This is incredible. To have so many close plays at the plate, I think Duke would have to feel like they got a bit snubbed if this one were to be overturned. I think it was clear that the tag had already been applied. Ball was not forced out of the glove on the tag or by the slide. It was as Proctor was reaching back into the glove after the fact. But not our call to make, obviously, and it's a huge one. If the call stands, it's 2-1. If not, Joe O'Donnell has an extra run to work with. And for a guy that's given up one run all season, asking the Duke offense to come up with a pair would be difficult. Obviously, the tag is in time. That's not what they're looking at, nor is that in question. Ball still in the glove of Proctor. Stays in the glove until his right hand comes in to grab it. Glove is back off the turf. Obviously, if the ball was coming out at that point, you can make an argument. But clearly, in my opinion, and you've played a whole lot more baseball than I have, Ron, that is the definition of losing the ball in the transfer.
That's right. Clearly made the tag, brought the glove off the ground with the ball, really never saw the ball even be exposed until his hand went in to get it. So it looks like that'll clearly be called a drop on the transfer. The tag should be good for the third out in the top of the ninth. Duke with 3 offensive outs left to try to tie this game. Looks like Duke's got Jack Lebowski warming down in their bullpen in case a run takes us into the top of the 10th here this afternoon. Both teams with a little action in their respective bullpens right now, waiting for this call.
Duke would love nothing more than to see Jack Lebowski pitch in the top of the 10th. Of course, that would mean that they scored a run in the bottom of the 9th. Another nice job, I think, by the crew here at Jack Coombs Field. Craig Barron, Kevin Elsey, Chris Ward, Danny Everett, as far as I'm concerned, are 3 for 3 today on replay reviews. On the other side of the break, the bottom of the 9th. Smickless, Heron, and Proctor trying to tie it up for the Blue Devils, maybe even walk off with Game 2. At least to start things off, it'll be Kleiman again. Macy O'Donnell, though, after that. Ken Kleiman back out. We'll see if Michael Smickless is the only batter he faces. The righty, Jimmy Heron, is on deck. Smickless takes a ball. Count is 1-0. Kleiman 2 1/3 so far, 4 hits, a run unearned. 3 strikeouts without a walk, but A 2-0 count now to Smiklis. Jimmy Herron on deck. Had an opportunity first and second, nobody out, popped out. And he will have a chance at worst to be the tying run. Smiklis, though, if he's able to reach, puts Herron into a walk-off situation. Finds the strike zone there, so it's 3-1. Lefty on lefty, Kleiman and Smiklis. 2 for 3 on the day, a couple of singles for the Duke designated hitter who takes strike 2. Kleiman has done a nice job working his way back. Full count pitch towards short. Handled by Wilson. Across in time, one away.
Kent Kleiman doing a good job working back into that at bat. Smiklis obviously being very patient, perhaps even taking until he gets a strike to try to work the count there. And Kleiman fell behind 3-0. Smiklis worked his way into a ground out to short after Kleiman threw a couple strikes, and it looks like NC State's going to go to their closer.
As we hypothesized, one hitter for Kleiman, it was Smiklis with the righty due up. Coach Elliott Avent calls on a man with 7 saves and an ERA of .56 this year. It's Joe O'Donnell, the righty, that takes the baseball. On the other side of the break, we'll bring you the rest of his numbers. 2 outs to go here in Game 2. Duke looking for the tying run here in Durham. Final couple of warm-up pitches for O'Donnell. ...20 strikeouts in 16 innings, only 4 walks and a single earned run this year. Has hit 4 batters. Bit of an anomaly there. Hitters batting .164. He has NC State's the majority of the saves for the Wolfpack, 7 out of the 15. Johnston, who pitched in Game 1 and got the victory for NC State, has 4. Ken Kleiman, who O'Donnell just replaced, has 3. The 2 goatee has the other. So Herron and Proctor against O'Donnell. Blue Devils need a run to extend the game. Herron takes ball 1. That one's in for a strike.
O'Donnell with 2 sliders in a row to Herron. I think after the first one missed the zone, Herron was sitting dead red fastball, and that one slid right in there for strike 1.
O'Donnell ahead of the Duke leadoff hitter, 1-2. Herron trying to get himself on base, and you got to imagine he'd be off and running. The 1-2. Just off the plate, 2-2. The red portion of the crowd thought that one found the outside corner. Count is 2-2. Off speed. Upstairs, Herron fouls it away.
Herron looked ready for that pitch. O'Donnell showcases that hard fastball. Slider looks the same right out of the hand, same arm slot and everything. It's a hard slider at that. Pretty tough to pick up on until the last minute. Herron put a good swing on that one.
2-2 one more time. Lofted toward right. In fact, Patera will handle it, drifting back from his second base position, and so Chris Proctor comes up as the final hope for the Blue Devils. Three hours and 15 minutes into this one. O'Donnell has Duke down to its final out. Proctor 1 for 4 on the afternoon. Behind in the count, 0-1. to center field. McLean is there. And NC State wins game 2 and the series here at Jack Coombs Field. A series win against a top 10 opponent. Wolfpack continue to show why they are one of the best programs in America. Now 10 straight conference series wins.
Exactly what you would expect from 2 top 10 teams in the ACC on a Saturday here on Tobacco Road. Great starting pitching from both teams. Brian Brown for NC State, Mitch Stallings for Duke. Duke just couldn't do enough with the bats. A 2-1 victory for the Wolfpack here in Durham.
Beautiful day, packed house. Jimmy Herron